Hello and welcome to another modelling video. This is Alan from the Mech at YouTube with another tutorial. Today I'm going to show you how to apply and use magnets to either add articulation or some way of separation in your models, as well as being a form of attachment. This is an alternative to polycaps. Now I've got a leg here off a Zugok model kit that I'm working on, the set of legs, and I plan on making this kit fully pull apartable and articulated using magnets. And as an example, we look at this leg here. Elements can be pulled apart and pivot around at multiple points. What I've done is I've cut the piece, which you can watch my cutting models tutorial, applied putty inside, stuck a magnet in, allowed 24 hours to dry, and then super glued the magnet in, and in the second half apply the putty in there and do the same. Anyone that's familiar with mold making will be very familiar in making a two parts, or the two pieces of the two parts of the mold. Magnets or rare earth magnets can be found on eBay very cheap, or wargaming hobby stores or suppliers. I find eBay to be the absolute cheapest from Hong Kong and China, and the sizes I mostly use are round 10 and 12 by 1 mil, and bigger magnets about 10-12 mil by 2 or 3 mil for extra strength. These are the very common 10 by 1 mil, and you can see with a little difficulty they can be pulled apart and they just attach to each other. If you swap the polarity and try to stick them together on the other side, they will retract from each other and not want to stick together. It is important when you're gluing your magnets in, you stick them in the correct orientation, because if the polarities are reversed, they will actually retract and not stick together. Thus you'll have to gouge out the magnets and reapply it. What will you need to apply magnets into your model kit? Obviously a model and a part where you'll be chopping them. With this tutorial I'll be attaching this proportion of the leg to this socket. I'll be using a stronger magnet, 12 by 2 or 3 mil, which are a lot harder to pull apart. Never pull a magnet apart really far away, let go and watch them force or smash together. It chips or breaks the magnets from the shear force unless you're merely entertained. So you need magnets, super glue, cheap multi-pack glue such as this, or the expensive gel or bottle stuff is both appropriate. Just a hint, if you do use the more expensive gel or bottle type, storing them in the refrigerator or freezer prolongs its shelf life. And milliput or 2-part putty. First, what I'll be doing is removing this section here with a hobby saw, and then gluing a magnet down. To get magnet polarity correct when you're gluing it onto a model, and the easiest way not to make a mistake, I've got a pile of magnets here, is you keep it in a pile, remove them, and what's facing down you attach to a metal surface. So that way the bit that's facing up is what's going to be either facing on your model, so the up piece will always be facing up and the reverse piece will be always reversing down when you're gluing it on your model kit. Now I don't like using Gundam markers for painting, but I do like it for marking where I'm going to cut and do modifications. What's going to be facing up, I'm going to put a mark, and this way I don't have to recheck multiple times the polarity or the direction that they have to go in when they're being glued on. glue the magnet on, I've got the top of the thigh, and I'm going to glue it on this flat bit. You notice there's some sort of T-peg, which used to sit on here like this, and it has since been removed. And we've got the magnets, and we've got the marker. The marker means that the magnet is always facing up. So its reverse end will be glued right there. It's simple as the application of a little super glue. Now, because there's a magnet on the reverse end, you want to hold the magnet down for a while until it dries, or otherwise it's just going to pop off and flip on the back. I'm going to pick it up. The paint is facing up on my finger. It's probably going to rub off, but once it glues down, it won't matter. Position on, clamp, and hold for a while. So that only took about 30 seconds. And I'm going to trace super glue all the way around just for maximum grip. I'm going to allow this a couple of hours to dry before the next step. If you wish for it to dry faster, sprinkle some baking soda on it and it'll instantly harden. But I honestly believe if you let it naturally dry, the bond is going to be a lot stronger. Modelling is all about patience. Now, as we wait, we want to be able to submerge the second magnet inside with enough space for the existing magnet. So we've got this piece, and we notice it does not fit through the hole. There is a gap. We're not going to want a gap. So we're going to have to widen that hole, and you could use it for Dremel, for circular bit. Just stab it in there, twirl it around till it's nice and big. Or you can use a hobby blade and just slowly carve away till it's quite big. Bit tedious, but it's well worth it until you get something like this. Plenty of space. And if I put that in there, there you go. And there's room for articulation. We can see the magnet on the other side. We're going to cut up some milliput. Now, I normally always keep it in the plastic so don't cross-contaminate and dry out. This is only for the YouTube demonstration. And I'm going to cut equal amounts. You always cut and not pinch, or otherwise they will dry out. These are also a lovely set of kitchen knives that I bought. It's got a bottle opener, very sharp. Excellent hobby tool. We're going to mix these two equally until they're a consistent colour. So roll and mix. So it's well mixed for 2 minutes. When you break apart or lick either side, there should be no streaks. Now, if we look inside here, you can see it's flush and buried in the putty. So we'll be doing that. Now we remember, this is all dry, it's nicely glued on, and we can see the up symbol. And I've got my next magnet, and you see, it doesn't want to stick because it's reverse polarity. When it's in polar with each other, it sticks beautifully. So we want to add to the dry magnets, and only after they're dry, our magnets. So when we make an indent in the putty, it's going to be a true depth of where we want this magnet to be glued in later, and space inside the body of the model for the existing magnet. So, breaking the putty in half, I'm going to ram it in this hole here. I'm going to mould it so it's nice and flat, and we're going to just make sure that it's nicely contoured on the inside. So that's looking pretty good. We're going to just attach this directly in and support it with my index finger in there, just so that the putty's not pushed in, that we're actually making a mould like hole. You can lubricate the magnet if you want, dipping it in some water will probably not hurt at all, so make it less likely to stick. So going to insert, push it in nice and deep, and then I recontour it inside. It's roughly where we want it to have it. Remove it, we've got a hole inside, and then so later on when this dries I'm going to super glue tomorrow that magnet inside of that hole. And this is what this step should look like so far. So we've got a magnet on a magnet, that's okay, and we've got a untouched hole. 24 hours I glue that magnet in, and then we wait, because this piece is going to have another torso piece glued on with magnets for further waste articulation. I'm going to use the same grade of magnet, so to save filling the whole piece with putty, I've jammed this 1mm styrene plate on top and shall glue a magnet there. With about 24 hours, it's absolutely bone hard. Going to apply the slightest amount of super glue in there. And as we've got the outer bit of magnet sticking out, we're going to stick the top bit inside, which is a tad stuck, which isn't a problem. And we just stick it in there nice and neatly. Cake a bit of super glue on top. Wait for a few hours to dry for a test fit. And this is the finished result regarding magnets. We can see that it's standing with its own weight. It's almost completely solid like a resin kit. And it's got a full range of articulation and separation, and pulling it apart, it's just so easy to transport and move about and just have it in 50 billion pieces. Turn the hips around, move the legs. There's a lot of advantages. So regarding to magnets, this is definitely the most extreme that you're going to go, articulating and lacing up an entire kit with magnets in every spot. It's not really expected to go this far, but this is the full potential. It's good for one or two limbs, accessories, swapping of parts. You can have a normal arm and you can make a second arm with a rocket launcher built in permanently and swap it around for wargaming or display or whatever, or have extra weapons or whatnot, and it's just absolutely ideal. Everything in the tutorial should explain what you need to do, and in the end it was just good fun. You don't need too much, pretty cheap to do, and you've got just something that's really rewarding and interesting. Don't forget, if you want to learn how to cut up a model kit to be putting magnets in, check out the cutting up model kit or cutting styrene tutorial, which will either come before or after this video. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, until next time, stay tuned for more tutorials, reviews and content. Catch you guys later.